This 2024 campaign that is here whether you like it or not. Indeed, last night we had the reports from Iowa, where the caucus is now just 12 days away. Can you believe that? And tonight, right now, we begin with how the Biden White House and campaign is leaning into this unavoidably political month. The president taking his re-election message to Pennsylvania. That's a key state he won. And the symbolism of George Washington's leadership at what you see on your screen, Valley Forge. Now, Washington is touted for setting a standard for democracy, walking away from power after those two terms. Biden will draw a contrast to Trump on that score. Trump being the election loser who tried to steal a race, compared to Washington, who was making news in his day with what was described then as, you see here, the resignation of George Washington Esquire of his situation as President of the United States of America. Now, that was a time of kingdoms, so it was a big deal that Washington resisted, as this paper put it, the solicitations of his friends to continue in office, a selfless act that they reported concluded a life of honor and glory. They wrote different back then. Biden is going to argue that Trump is the literal opposite and make that argument directly. Indeed, this first campaign speech will be on January 6th itself, marking the anniversary of the insurrection. The Biden campaign says they are running like the fate of our democracy depends on it, because it does. And that may well be true. There is strong factual evidence that Trump tried to steal the race, stage a coup, and if elected would pardon seditionists and would try to do it again. In fact, we report on those facts around here. But if you step outside of Biden's brain trust in certain Democratic circles, there are other views on the matter of the politics of this, that Biden should also make sure to lead on the economic and populist issues facing voters, that effective campaigns tend to look forward, and also the critique that it was Democrats who used to object to politicians who tried to seize on national security threats or an anniversary like, say, 9/11 to score political points. If you go all the way back to those mission accomplished days, well, top Democrats were saying it was outrageous when George W. Bush did things like that, for example. Now, the argument is not that the events are similar or that Biden is Bush, but rather that leading so clearly with January 6, 2021 may not always land with voters concerned about 2025. And that Biden, who's proven to be an earnest and empathetic politician, very few honest people would disagree with that and the way he's shared his own difficult life story with the country, that even still he will need an energetic and balanced message in these months ahead. His campaign is turning to another important but also quite somber topic for what we're told is the second campaign speech of 24, the site of the terrible mass shooting at Mother Emanuel Church in South Carolina. Now, I mentioned some of those concerns. Biden's aides have a very simple answer for them. They say these are serious issues. They are national priorities, and that politically, don't worry about it. They say Joe Biden has beaten expectations before, as he did in this same state.
NBC News is now projecting that former Vice President Joe Biden has won a decisive victory in the South Carolina Democratic primary.
He was counting on South Carolina to help keep his campaign going.
That much-needed shot in the arm for the Biden campaign.
Joe Biden was betting on this state for a comeback. In his 3 presidential runs, this is the first time he is walking away from a primary contest as the winner.